when when theology really began talking about science and the sciences, science, theology was a science. On the angelic doctrine, on Aquinas' view, theology was the queen of the sciences. And one of the things that I thought got brought out in the forums I thought was great was the notion that whatever we're doing, when we do the natural sciences, which are, I guess, different than the revealed sciences, the science of theology, the science of biblical interpretation, the natural sciences are just as much a means to worship as are the theological sciences. It's all supposed to be one testimony, one witness to the one God. Once we get away from that, we are on very, very shaky ground. The book of nature, so there's the two books, right? Remember it from the lecture, Book of Revelation, Book of Nature. The Book of Revelation, we're very used to looking at the Book of Revelation and worshiping as a result of our reading of it. We read Paul's letter to the Galatians, and we affirm what he says, and it leads us to worship because it tells us something about the grace of God. It is no different. The book of nature is not meant to be any different. In fact, a good Old Testament theology is going to recognize that much of the Psalms and really much of even the prophets is really it generates worship out of a recognition of what the world is like and what is. And if you bring that into sort of a contemporary modern context, what that means is the natural sciences should lead us to worship. They should be another means to drawing human eyes to the Creator God. If that's not happening, then there's something wrong with our reading of the book of nature. In the same way that if you come to Scripture and you're reading, Ezekiel or whatever, Amos, and it's defective in the way that it's drawing you to worship God. The problem is not with Amos. The problem is not with Ezekiel. The problem is not with the Bible. The problem is with us. If we're not able to read the Bible in a way that we are drawn into awe and utter, just being blown away by the revealed nature of a gracious and relentlessly committed God, if that's not happening, then it's not the Bible's fault. It's our fault. And likewise, we need to reconfigure how we're reading Scripture to get there. Likewise, if the sciences are not drawing us to a measure of love and worship and awe before God, then there's something defective in our reading of them. It is not the problem of the natural sciences. It's a problem with us. We need to be able to find ways to read the book of nature such that it draws us to worship. And we need to be able to do it naturally. It should feel very comfortable. There really are just two books, and we need to have that integrated, holistic, unified view of how both nature and revelation draw us to God. And when we do, I think we'll really have recovered something that was terribly lost in the advent of the Enlightenment and the separation, really, between the theological sciences and the natural sciences.